This is a Gato Consulting production. Strategy for Action. The third part of external analysis. Willingness to pay, value proposition, differentiation, and critical success factors. A customer's willingness to pay, WTP, is a fundamental concept to grasp. Let's understand it better through a fictional example. The couple in this picture seems to be considering how much they are willing to pay for this house before making an offer. Since the lady is pregnant, what they are also probably looking into are baby strollers. Let's assume that a company of branded products for babies currently buys the wheels and frames for their strollers from a supplier for $30, has other costs of $40, and sells the finished strollers at $100, yielding a margin of $30. Along comes a competitor to the supplier, which sells the wheels and structure already assembled for $31, and that allows the customer to reduce its other costs to $19 and increase its margin to $50. Another supplier also drops a new product on the market, which has a little dynamo attached to the wheels and offers a cell phone charger, and it sells it all unassembled, also at $31. And the customer is now able to sell its improved stroller at $110, increasing its margin from $30 to $39. Both new products are priced at $31, but all else being equal, what is the customer's willingness to pay for these new products? Sometimes it's very hard to assess this, but often with a bit of a harder look at your customer's cost structure and its market, this can be figured out. In theory, the customer would be willing to pay as much as $50 for product A, still increasing its margin from $30 to $31, and up to $39 for product B with a cell phone charger, also increasing its margin to $31. As you can see, both suppliers would leave money on the table by pricing their products at $31. The important thing to retain here is customers change to a new product or service because of two main reasons. Either it reduces their total cost, like in product A, or it increases their performance, like in product B. And these are the two basic ways to improve your customer value proposition. Unless you want to be just like your competitors. Well, that's not much of a business plan. WTP is the basis for and the way of thinking about improving your customer value proposition. Here, I'd like to thank Professors Nikolai Sigokau and Arbir Singh, my masters at the Wharton School of Management. To get to what makes a good value proposition, we need to consider mainly two things. Number one, the margin. Let's go back to our example and look at it from the supplier's perspective. First, we will assume that the incumbent company that sells the wheels and structure at $30 has costs of $20 and yields a margin of $10 or 33%. Company A has no trouble extending to this market, and because it's really a cost leader in its home region, it can produce the wheels and structure of the baby strollers and assemble them for $28. Remember, assembling reduces a significant amount of costs to the customer. After doing its homework about customers' willingness to pay, and while it can't be sure, Company A decides to sell not at $31, but becomes convinced that at a price point of $40, it can not only convince the customers to switch to them, but do it faster and yield a margin of 12 or 30%. Company B, on top of what the incumbent does, differentiates itself by adding the cell phone charger. The package costs this vendor $22 to put together. Remember, it is estimated that the customer can improve its performance and sell a stroller with cell phone charger for an additional $10. So, Company B also does its WTP homework and decides to sell at $36, which gives them a margin of $14 or almost 40%. The second thing you need to consider is market share. Let's assume the market is of 100,000 units of baby strollers. In this hypothetical case, 15% of the market is of well-off parents that like the charger and are willing to pay more for it. That gives Company B 15,000 units and $210,000 in gross profit. Company B, the cost leader, is very successful with its aggressive strategy and gets 65% of the market in a couple of years, which gives them $780,000 in annual profit. For the time being, the incumbent manages to hang on to 20% of loyal or perhaps lazy customers and sees its profits go down to $200,000. And this too is likely to be short-lived. A couple more things you have to consider for a good value proposition. Make sure it makes a difference. You have to give customers reasons to adopt it and make it as clear as possible to your target segments. I'll wrap up the concept of value proposition with a slightly more technical way. You must find a price level that maximizes your gross profit. That is a function of market size and the price that maximizes your profit. I hope that the concept of customers' willingness to pay and value proposition have helped you understand the importance of doing your best to assess all these variables. And don't get fooled by the idea that it is impossible to estimate a good range or that you already know for sure. This analysis will provide further opportunities and might detect some threats. Whether you are a startup or in a mature market, assessing new opportunities, you have to estimate all of these variables before you spend a lot of money. Let me give you a couple of real examples of great value propositions. For decades now, Walmart has lived true to its promise: save money, live better. They have a whole supply chain and merchandising way of saving you and me money. And you'd think their margins are low. Well, they kind of are. All retailers have net income margins in the low single digits, but only Target and Ahold really have higher rates out of the six larger public grocery stores. And in terms of dollar value, Walmart leads, generating an impressive $14 billion in net income and $32 billion in EBITDA. This is respectively 2 and 3 times more than the number 2. Back in the 60s, NASA invented Tempur, the memory foam. Tempur-Pedic has brought it to the mattress industry, along with other innovations, like the ability to cool the mattress temperature down 8 degrees Fahrenheit. The Sleep Number bed has come up with a system for two people to be able to sleep in the same bed with different and multiple levels of firmness. People's willingness to pay for a mattress has risen by several thousands of dollars by these and other performance innovations. We'll explore WTP and value proposition in a very specific proprietary format. Then, considering what we find and to explore the crowd wisdom of your team, we will go back to everyone in your management team and ask questions about product improvement and product cost reductions. I'll bet you will be pleasantly surprised with some of the findings. Next, I want to validate that you have identified all critical success factors, a concept first introduced by McKinsey's John F. Rockert that I will present with a different spin, enabling critical thinking about differentiation. Critical success factors and a new way to think about differentiation. It's very important to understand customers' behavior. We'll start by listing the key buying factors. What is it that customers really value? Why do they buy one product and not the other? And think about the needs your customers want you to satisfy. And following our WTP analysis, let's list all the factors that reduce cost or improve performance, sometimes in perceived subjective ways, like the status of using a premium brand. Let's take the example of the car industry. Some of the key buying factors that buyers consider are price and comfort. Surely others exist, such as overall quality, safety, service, resale price, or emotional factors such as status. Then we will list the competition factors. What are the variables that you can play with within those buying factors? Let's take comfort as a key buying factor. Some of the competition factors include seat comfort, the ability to do automatic maneuvers, and accessibility. All of these contribute to overall comfort. Next, let's think about the ways the manufacturers can differentiate themselves within these competition factors. Starting with seat comfort. A lot of cars advertise driver and passenger comfort, and these even come in different shapes and forms, from legroom to control board proximity. But how many offer a good back middle seat, for example? For some reason, most cars have a very uncomfortable back middle seat. Auto maneuvers. We've seen several brands advertise auto park. How about auto unpark? Not just for older folks with trouble turning, but let's say you're the driver of a car parked between two large trucks. Maybe they could put sensors underneath the structure of the car that could detect incoming people and vehicles. Accessibility. If you can talk to Google, Alexa, and Siri, Wouldn't it be nice to tell the car to crank open the door for you when your hands are tight or you are in a rush? And has anyone seen a sedan lower the bottom sections of the car body structure so that people with arthritis can easily come in? This framework facilitates thinking about differentiation. But at this point, we're not going to pick the new factors to implement. We're just lining up the opportunities and possibly identifying some threats coming from competitors. As to critical success factors, they will probably be the same for you and your competitors, unless one becomes the first to identify a new competition factor. But all car makers have to have skills in ergonomics and engineering, including sensors, voice recognition, and AI. It is how you specialize on your differentiation factors that sets your product apart. Kudos here to my MBA professor, Adrienne Freire, who got me thinking this way. A couple of quick notes on price. Number one, you should always try to keep your cost structure down. But if you're trying to fight consistently on price, you should be able to be a cost leader yourself. And it's very hard to dethrone another cost leader due to economies of scale. And if you're going for it, you need to have a relentless focus on scale and efficiency. Number two, think mainly how you're going to reduce costs to the customer. For instance, if price is a key buying factor, don't just think about reducing the sell price. Think about other things like car maintenance as a competition factor. For instance, I'd like to see a car come with an oil extractor so we could save money by doing oil changes ourselves. And how about it using oil that is good for 10,000 miles? The service dealerships might not like it, but you get the point. The stroller vendor that saved money to its customer by assembling the wheels and structure is another great example of cost reduction. Back to our car example, and you may not know about this, it was Volvo and Volkswagen the first to think about auto parking, and one way or another, the first to identify auto maneuvers as a new competition factor that customers would value. But it was Toyota that was the first to market, and obviously the first to master the critical success factors to achieve it. It's not enough to identify the customer needs, but you must go through the process of thinking how you are going to create a product that customers want to buy. But please understand, it's a very long shot to find a new customer need. And it's also incredibly hard to come up with new competition factors to explore existing needs. But Strategy for Action is here to improve those odds. And the Strategy for Action framework goes at it in multiple ways. From analyzing and surveying the market, as mentioned in video number 2, by looking at buyers and substitute products, as shown in video number 3. We'll also make sure we listen to every single one of your employees and get their best ideas about it. And we'll spend some time on the field with your field people and your customers dedicated to customer needs, and then we'll have a structured discussion about it. And we will certainly think about customer needs and differentiation when we talk about your customers' willingness to pay, your value proposition, critical success factors, and other things I haven't spoken about yet. Strategy for Action casts a wide web and the new way to think about these things, also setting the stage for some critical and creative thinking. And with the help of your best minds, maybe, just maybe, you might be the first to find a new way to compete in the marketplace, position your products differently, and master the critical success factors to beat your competitors and win. Before we go, a reminder to go to the toolset page of our website. It has all the tools that support this video and will allow you to implement the framework. www.strategy4action.com/toolset. This is a Gato Consulting production. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. There are plenty of new videos coming up.